When we experience trauma, our body goes into a survival state to keep us safe so that we don't have to feel pain. And we'll go into one of four, or sometimes all four, survival responses, which is fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And if our body gets stuck in one of those spaces, we can't actually feel what safety feels like. So until we go in and learn how to renegotiate that survival response and get you back to safety, connection and dreaming will never feel possible, or it'll never feel easy because your body's still stuck in survival. It has nothing to do with the dating. It has nothing to do with the matchmakers. It has everything to do with how safe someone feels in their body. If you don't feel safe, you will attract a mirror image of the way that you feel inside of your body. It's just science. So if you're in survival and you're in one of those four heightened responses, you're either going to attract in nothing because you're so frozen, or you're going to attract in men who ghost, men who won't commit because you are in that space of flight within your own system. Here's the thing about survival. I need everybody to hear this. In any moment, your body is either choosing connection or protection. So if you're in survival, you cannot connect, which is why people don't have success when it comes to dating, and they don't have success when it comes to relationships, because they're in protection. They're not in connection. And so that's where your body was going. It was just going, I need to protect myself. There's a lot of trauma happening. It's too fast, too much, too soon. I need to protect. The problem is that if we don't have the tools to allow those protection mechanisms to regulate in the system, we get stuck there. In relationships, when two couples just start nitpicking at each other, it's like they don't safe, so they start to nitpick. And that's the fight response. But the thing is that you can see it in your system. If you find yourself, you're in a situation, your hands start to clench, your body is going into fight. And most of the time, we're not going to be like, I'm in the fight response. But your body is giving you that signal, even if there's not threat present. And that's where we start to disconnect. That's where we start to choose protection over connection, when we don't actually need to save ourselves in that moment. That's what our body's doing to keep us safe in that moment. And that's where it gets us in trouble. What I want people to really hear is that relationships are still, they don't like to say difficult. They're not difficult, but you have to be committed to growth within partnership. I always tell people that you cannot manifest if you're operating out of dysregulation, if you're operating out of survival. When we look and we break down manifestation, there really are only two emotions in the world. There's fear and there's love. When you're in survival, you are operating in fear. You're in protection. There's an actual bear in the room that could potentially kill you. And when this becomes your baseline, even though cognitively you can say, I want to get married by this time next year to a man that is aligned and beautiful and conscious, whatever. If underneath the surface, your nervous system still feels like that's not possible. It's in shame, it's in anger, it's in sadness, it's in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Then what we know about manifestation is that your reality is a reflection of your most predominant frequency. If you're in survival, you are going to attract survival. And so if you don't do the work to regulate your nervous system first, manifestation will always feel impossible. You'll give up on it. It won't work. You'll manifest toxic partners. You'll manifest money that goes out as soon as it comes in. You'll manifest poor health. You'll manifest all the things you don't want to manifest because you're operating at that frequency.
Here's the reality. Nobody cares about you until they do. And they don't care about you until they feel like you see them, you hear them, you understand them. Truly understanding and living the life-saving power of your why. It's not know your why in the sense of to help you get out of bed and build a business and serve some people. Your why, a true why, is your lifeline. It is that absolute connection to the divine, however that resonates with you, that is your life force, that drives you, that fuels you, that feeds you. And when you're living in that kind of alignment, then everything flows from there. It's much easier to serve clients. It's much easier to live a life of joy and richness and fulfillment and play and laughter and vibrancy. The only guarantee is that the external is going to change. Life is going to change. Circumstances are going to change. Your relationship is going to change. All the external, it's going to change. So if you want an anchor, if you want a North Star, if you want that inner peace, that stability, that safe haven and the port in the storm, it has to be internally driven. If somebody came to you and they literally said, you have 20 minutes to live, what is the message that cannot die within you? What must you share? What can't die within you? And you have 20 minutes. What must your soul express? What cannot die within you? And that will provide a gateway. You will surprise yourself with what comes out, because what comes out is not necessarily going to be what you think would come out. Imagine literally that you are on your deathbed and you have 20 minutes. What haven't you said that you need to say? What cannot die within you without being expressed? When they receive this message, how will their life change, or how will they change by receiving this message? And from there, you will start to see truly your values, your characteristics, truly your attribute. You will explore what actually drives you, what moves you. And as you're exploring this beautiful journey of, wow, who am I really? Not who do my parents say I am, not who does society say I am. When you strip away the programming, when you strip away the conditioning, when you strip away the identities and protections and survival mechanisms as a result of navigating this thing called life and its challenges and its journey, when you strip away all of the things you've picked up along the way, and you come home to yourself, who do I need to be the embodiment of this message, of this mission that cannot die unexpressed through my soul? Stop comparing yourself to others, because we are all unique. There is not one person that's exactly the same as another. Even twins are unique. Hold the fort. Stop comparing yourself. Second, to all those women that are like, oh, I'm just a mom, I've just raised kids. Are your kids alive? Has that thing done something? You have kept humans alive. That's amazing. And you've kept them alive through the way that you've shown up in who you are, the way that you have guided them through life. And the way that you've done it has been unique to you. Nobody else has done it exactly the way you have. So you have the secret sauce. Now, when you're trying to figure out, do I have a message? My absolute fundamental core message to people is this: you matter. Your life matters. Your mission matters. Your message matters. Your voice matters. And someone in the world is waiting for you to show up fully as you. You have a story. And someone in the world is waiting for you to share it in the way that only you can. Because only you have navigated your life. And so every single one of you has a light within you that is unique to you. And it's up to you to shine that light. and to shine it unapologetically and shine it brightly and shine it in a way that you're like, here I am, world, in all of my magnificence, in all of my glory, in the miracle, in the divine miracle that is me.
We undervalue and understand the gift of change and the journey that it takes us on that is a part of what we're to raise our hand for. And that doesn't mean we make decisions to exit stage left on all kinds of things in our life. What it means is, instead of resisting or shaming ourselves for changing, know that we're either changing or we're dying. And if you halt your own change, if you shame it, if you stuff it in a corner, then you're actually reducing your soul's mission to the confines of your own container that you think was what it was supposed to be. We never judge an oak tree for continuing to get bigger and wider and broader, but yet we judge ourselves for no longer fitting in the pot that we planted ourselves in. In the process of that expansion, there is risk and there is fear, because what's going to be on the other side will still approve of me. Will I approve of myself? And is this the direction that I actually want to go? The first stage of change is childhood, just like the beginning of your life. Childhood is filled with wide-eyed wonder, listening to things, reading things, having conversations you may have never had or given yourself permission for. And the next part is the one people try to avoid. And just like in life, after childhood comes adolescence. Adolescence is messy. You are awkward. You don't recognize yourself. Other people don't recognize you. You overdo it. So we avoid change because of this messiness. But right on the other side of this messy adolescence is adulthood. And adulthood is now you're executing the things you were trying out in messy adolescence, and now you have more discernment of what is really more you, and you begin to have purposeful adulthood, executing, practicing, effort into the thing, the new body, the new way you show up in relationship, the new level of money that you're making, the new circumstance you put into your life. And you are in that purposeful adulthood stage. And after that comes maturity. It is you. It always has been you. It takes no effort. It is your being. Maturity is being and essence. And then after maturity comes death. And just like anything, the plants that lose their leaf, the trees that lose their leaves in the fall, etc., there must be pruning. But most of us hold on in the life cycle, and we're holding on in this walking dead experience. The body that doesn't serve us, the relationship that doesn't serve us, the work that no longer aligns with us, the relationship that we have altered from, and we're not speaking our truth to maybe grow together. We're holding on to death, and death requires shedding. And so how do you begin to shed? Childlike wonder. And why are you willing to go through messy adolescence? Because you're freaking alive, people. Because you're actually not amongst the comatose. And now give yourself the grace to know, oh my God, at least I'm alive. And you watch other people being messy, at least they're alive. And I hope this gives you permission to say, I'm willing to stop being dead inside. I'm willing to tap on the shoulders of myself and others, and to begin to ask the questions I've once been afraid of. Because you know what? I am meant to evolve. When does it become so selfish that I'm disregarding other people's needs and only holding on to my own? When you speak your truth, it doesn't have to be yours or their need. It's an and. You can have your need met and their need met. So what it could begin to invite is a more creative way to find a solution to have an and, if necessary. So you want to make somebody feel good, where you put yourself aside, your needs aside, to help somebody feel better. And while that might sound noble, it's quite a trauma response, and it opens you up for an inauthentic version of yourself. It opens you up to swallowing your truth so often, and it opens you up to abuse, whether it's overt or covert. It's really important to have this self-awareness, and it all comes when your nervous system and your consciousness is ready for it. I always talk about more empowering questions get powerful answers, pitiful questions get pitiful answers. So when asking something of self, take away the why. And when asking a child too, or a partner, like, why did you do that? What happens with why is defense goes up. So even when you ask yourself why, it's like, what? What do you mean why? And there's an automatic, like, visceral response to the word why. It creates defense, it creates pushback. So it'll create pushback in your subconscious, it'll create pushback in your relationships. So if you just replace it with a what, a where, when, a how. So just like you were referencing, what would you be without that question? You can't do it with pitiful questions. You have to do it with powerful, empowering questions.
A summit goal is something that is you're not even sure is possible. Something that probably would take an identity shift or an identity change in order to get there. And so many times when people are making goals, they're going for the big, sexy summit goals. And if they don't have the foundation of even understanding themselves and knowing themselves, that's the foundation of the whole performance peak, the whole mountain. But if they don't have these foundational values, if they don't understand their own identities, if they haven't gotten routines and rituals that are base camp goals in place to make a solid foundation, then going for a summit goal is foolish. It's like trying to go up Mount Everest without any equipment, support, or training. I really subscribe to the notion that progress is happiness, that we as humans, we feel fulfilled when there's progress in some area, and it doesn't matter what area. It could be the cleanliness of your kitchen, progress in your health, progress in your relationships. That's a big low-hanging fruit. But if there's progress somewhere, anywhere in your life, most of us will feel some level of fulfillment and connection with ourselves and others, and that's really where happiness tends to come from. Doesn't mean there's not going to be pain, but that progress is massive. If there's that voice or that feeling or that pull inside that says, I'm not satisfied with this particular thing or this particular area, that's something for us to listen to, because when we don't, we're often either out of integrity or we're incongruent with what we truly want, what our true desires are. But ultimately, we're all human. And typically, if we've reached a given level, we often crave or desire something that's either different or a little more improved or another level, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, it always opens up an area that we're either unfamiliar with, we are unskilled at, we have issues or problems in, and that's the beauty of growth. It just opens all that up, and we get to discover it within ourselves as humans. What happens when we know we want something, we know we believe something about ourselves, and yet we're still in conflict? And what I've done is really sitting down and making a quadrant and going, what are my obvious identities? Obvious identities are things like, if somebody has some sort of title, then maybe an obvious identity might be doctor. And then there's some super identities. There's some things that are like, this is what I'm good at. This is my zone of genius. Whatever is somebody's super identity, their zones of genius. And then we go into the secret identities. And the secret identities are the things that you know about you, but most people just don't know about you. And then the fourth category is hidden identities. Hidden ones are ones that we don't always realize about ourselves. And sometimes uncovering these hidden identities are where the magic are between unlocking the performance that you don't know why you're not performing in a certain area. You can't quite see it. And oftentimes there's what I call an identity conflict. If we cannot see our own identities and actually honor them, embrace them, or work with them, then we end up beating ourselves up going, why is this happening? I don't understand why I want this and I can't follow through. But if we explore and unpack a bit of that, you can realize that, okay, now I see where the conflict is. We can see that, then we have a level of witnessing and a level of consciousness that allows us to still love on ourselves and then make decisions from a space of observation instead of make decisions from a space of being stuck, from a space of being in this emotional drama, from the space of going like one step forward, one step back, and keep going and skipping in place.